Hi there, Rick here. Okay, my typing sucks, so I figured it'd be easier just to show it in a video. So what I wanted to do is just show my GANS productions, my different tests that I've done. And I have some here that have been going for 3 months and some that have been going for 24 hours. So let me show you where I started back with my first test. This one here, I was going for the purest of zinc. So what I have is I have nano-coated zinc with bare zinc. And what you'll see is that both of them are on the outside. But the odd part, and I'm hoping I can get a video of this, is the material is almost fibrous. And what I mean by that is when I pull it on the bottom, chunks, you see how it drags with it? It's almost like there's a fiber across the bottom in the GANS. So that's interesting. And this is again zinc, pure zinc. But also what you'll see is, see these chunks? See, there's a big chunk right there. Why did that happen? You would have think it would all settle. There's another chunk. See that chunk right there? And this chunk is fibrous. It doesn't dissolve. It stays in one piece. And see how when I drag it, it drags like it got hair in it, which there very well could be hair, but not that much. That's interesting. This is my pure zinc. And again, I put a nano-coated zinc plate on the outside, and then this is that moss-out zinc strips for your roofing material, and then I just connected it together, which I have learned that if your metals are on the outside, it's not necessary to connect, and I fully don't understand that, but that's what I've been told. But anyways, there's my bare zinc. This one has been running for 3 months. 3 months is what it's taken to get that. And I've refilled this container probably 3 times. Once a month, I'd have to top it off and give it more 10% salt solution. Iodized salt. Let me grab the salt. This is what I use for salt. Sodium. Morton table salt, food grade. So, and I use 10% solution is what I use in distilled water. Okay, so and that's what I use on all of my tests, is all 10% solution with distilled water. Okay, here's the next one. Now this one is my CO2. And again, what you're going to notice is the plate is on the outside, and then I've taken a piece of that roofing. Let me show you what it looks like. This stuff right here. And it's called moss out, and it's stuff you put on your roof. But it's 99.8% zinc. And that I put on the inside, and just to see what I can get. But you can see all the amino acids on the top. But here's the part that's interesting. And I don't know if you can see this, but the amino acids are almost a crystal on top in sheets. It's almost like ice, that, you know, floating ice, that you could bump it and they all stay in one piece. It's very interesting. See how they kind of lift? It's almost like maybe there's more salt concentration on the top versus the amino acids. Like I said, this has been going on for almost 3 months here. And I'm getting ready to harvest, so that's why I wanted to just show everybody this. Now this is the one I like the most. This is my CuO copper, and what I have is nano-coated copper on the outside and bare copper plate on the inside. And I just got it bent over, and you can see it's connected right there. And I've come up and I've connected with a red LED light back down to the nano-coated copper. Now this is really harvested a lot. It is. It doesn't look very much, but if I come down here, you can see. If I can get it away, it's pretty deep. This is the most that I have is in this copper. But I'll be harvesting that today too, and then I'll be sure to take all the amino acids. I wonder if you can see these amino acids on top. Not very well. But there it is. So you see all those it's just loaded with amino acids on top of that copper. All the salt. Like I said, I've filled this one up at least 3 times through the last 3 months to keep it above a certain distance. Again, 10% salt solution. A lot of salt buildup. This one was really heavy too. Okay, so that's our nano-coated copper. And like I said, this is just 3 months just sitting on a shelf, connected with that using the nano-coated copper on the outside. And this started producing within 3 days. This one, that took almost a week before I saw anything happening with this CO2 kit. Now we come over here, and now this is another CO2. And what I've done is I've used the scrunchies. See the copper-coated scrunchies? And then I have my zinc plate wrapped around, and I've got 2 scrunchies there. Figured I needed a little bit more nano fields to give me more plasma into the water, which you can see there's definitely GANS in here. And this is the pure CO2. And I can drag it and show you how much is in there. See how much? It's very flaky, floaty, settles very fast. Settles real fast. Not much amino acids in this though. That was the odd part, is it developed hardly no amino acids. So at least I get some amino acids. And I do have some from when I use a battery and I was using big tubs. This is what I harvested off of the big tubs. And like I said, I've got a bunch of amino acid. But that's all that is amino acid there. CHO there. From the tops of the CO2 kits. Now, the last one. This is the one, believe it or not, I put this on yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it is now 2 o'clock. So we're looking at 22 hours. And this is lead. This is lead GANS, and what I have is nano-coated lead, which I nano-coated that using a crock pot with a cold caustic solution in the bottom of my crock pot. I just heated it up, put the lead in my crock pot and spray it with caustic, and then every hour I would go into the crock pot and use a multimeter and drain the voltage off of the lead to allow more nano layers. Then I did that every hour, and I cooked it for 4 hours. Then I took it out of the crock pot, and I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I sprayed cold caustic in there. And I let that set for 4 days in the sun. And that cooked it, and it looks almost like a rusted piece of steel. Very interesting what lead looks like when you nano-coat it. And then this is regular lead here. But you can see in 22 hours how much lead GANS I have in there. Now what I'm powering this with, as you can see these electrodes, I'm powering this with a D-size battery right here. So this is my little makeshift up, and I learned this from Rolled Boom is who I learned this from. With this, it's 1.6 volts. I'm unsure of the amperage. I don't know how to measure. My clamp-on multimeter doesn't read the milliamps, so I'm sure it is just milliamps. But this one here is the one I was shooting for, of getting this, and it surely looks like I have enough now. So I'll let this go probably till tomorrow, and then I'll harvest this, and that way I'll have my lead GANS. And I don't feel anything weird from it. As far as any sensations, or Douglas made a comment that he didn't like making it, and that it was a weird feeling for him. And maybe I'm protected by my other GANS, but I don't feel anything from that, luckily. And I was hesitant on making it. I didn't want to make it, but now it's done. I'll clean it up, I'll wash it, and I'll stick it in another part of the garage so it's away from everything else. What I've done is I have more or less created the GANS using the fields of the plasma. This is 100% fields of plasma. I'm not sure, again, if you have your metals on the outside, is it necessary to connect them? We want some type of resistance, but if it is on the outside, are you really needing any resistance? Because the fields are inside. Are you resisting the power on the outside? I need to absorb and understand this more. But if anybody's got any feedback, I'd love to hear it. And then on my copper, again, this copper and how much salt built up on that, that was impressive. And I have refilled this. Now, I do want to show you one thing here. This was an experiment that, and I've seen this before, I think John Anderson brought this up, but I had an experiment, a CO2 kit box that I just let go and forgot about it. And it totally dried up. Well, when it dries up, it makes these little square, they look like rock salt, but they're little pyramids. They're little pyramids of salt. And that is what happened in the bottom of my CO2 kit when it totally evaporated out.